I'm back. Round two. So you all know how procurement works in your districts. Imagine what it's like in the New York Public Schools, New York City. Our next honoree joined the nation's largest district only 2 years ago, after spending many years working in the private sector, most recently as an entrepreneur and an advisor to startups. In 2012, he became the executive director of Innovate NYC Schools. Today, Stephen Otis is helping New York schools solve some of their problems in non-traditional ways, in particular by chipping away at the traditional procurement system and process. One of his main strategies has been to create competitions, or what the district calls challenges, to tackle problems in the city schools. For middle school math teachers, the problem was tackling the gap in proficiency between the highest performers in class and the lowest. So the GAP app challenge was launched last year, attracting 200 software developers. A panel of educators and industry experts chose the winning educational technology, which is now being tested in 50 innovative city schools. The next challenge was aimed at helping music teachers, producing 40 new music education tools. A school choice design competition or challenge involves 6 developer teams creating technology to help 8th graders more easily choose high school programs in the city. The face of procurement is changing. So I would like to ask Stephen to join me on stage for being recognized as a leader to learn from. That is an amazing Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Stephen.
Message 1.
Hey, Mary, it's Amy. It is Monday at about 2 o'clock. Just calling to keep you in the loop. I have an incoming refugee student here who, as I understand, has a seizure disorder.
Well, this was a job I never, ever thought I would ever have. I started off in Seattle working at Providence Medical Center and was the director for the Family Childbirth Center, and then moved to teaching at Highline Community College for 10. And during those last 4 years, we adopted Cameron. Well, he was the cutest little kid. He was a joy to get. Cameron was born at 25 weeks, so he was fairly premature, 1 pound, 2 ounces. He developed a little on the slow side. It was 2 years before he walked. Almost 2 before he got his first tooth. I thought we'd have to get, baby dentures for him at some point. And then when Cameron got old enough for kindergarten, he started developing some kidney issues.
I got it.
I was not a nurse at the building at that time, and I took that year of sabbatical to be able to take care of him and go to school, volunteer in the classroom, and be there for him. And within 6 weeks, I was hired as a school nurse, and within 3 months, I was then put into the position I currently have. We're the 4th largest district in Washington State. We are first when it comes to healthcare needs and medical needs. It's amazing the number of diabetic students. I mean, we're close to 200 students, primarily kindergarten through 3rd grade. So working with those students in particular is very taxing for the nurses because the students aren't old enough yet to have the dexterity to be able to give themselves a shot. They don't have the capabilities to do math and be able to add up their carbohydrates. It's difficult.
I remember how I was diagnosed. My mom was downstairs. It was in the middle of the night. We knew there was something wrong, and then she called my aunt, and then we went to the doctors, and then they just said I had diabetes.
When I came on originally, they didn't want to they wouldn't give shots themselves. We had a lot of heated conversations, mostly tears from them not wanting to do it.
Because we were scared and we didn't know really much, but then now we're not scared anymore because we get shots every single day.
They know what they have to do now. The school nurse, that's our main goal, is to teach them to take ownership of their diabetes and to say, this is part of me, this is what I need to do, and this is how I stay healthy.
It's looking at things from an educator perspective versus a nursing perspective, but then putting the nursing glasses back on to say, okay, we have this student with these needs, and this needs to be all in place before that student can come to school and be safe at school. Our students are important, and our students are coming to school with more and more healthcare needs that need the attention of a nurse. They're not just the lady sitting in that health room with Band-Aids. Band-Aids are few and far between. It's everything else that we have to deal with, from the social, the emotional, the behavioral, the medical, the mental health care needs. We see it all. We see it all, we offer it all, and we are vital to the school. And our students mean a lot to us.
Good for you.
As we just saw in the video, when there wasn't a school nurse in her son's school, Mary Newell took a break from her job as a professor to volunteer in his classroom and treat his special health needs. That volunteer position quickly grew into a full-time job, the full-time job she has today, supervising the district's nursing staff and leading its health initiatives. Mary supervises a staff of nurses and health aides in the district's 41 schools as they identify and assess student health needs and find ways to accommodate them in the classroom. One of her most important efforts has been to develop a whole child school-based clinic at its alternative high school, and that helps to limit out-of-class time for students with chronic health problems and helps students address mental health issues. Mary was selected as a Robert Wood Johnson Executive Nurse Fellow to participate in a competitive 3-year leadership program that spreads her influence well beyond the Kent School District. It's rare that a school nurse is part of this elite nursing program. For those she works with and for, Mary is a supportive, friendly problem solver. Mary Newell, happy to have you join me on stage. We're doing the grip and grin. Yay, sweetheart. Thank you, Mary. Arizona's Dysart Unified School District is already considered a national model for its use of school technology. Now, it's one of a handful of districts in the country that has implemented a competency-based pathway to high school graduation. The success of both those initiatives is credited to Gail Pletnick. Pletnick came to Dysart Unified in the midst of an explosion in the district's student enrollment. With a very limited budget and a student population that had tripled in size, she found ways to use technology as a teaching tool to improve student achievement and pilot a system that allows students to progress through school at their own speed. Gail, would you join me on stage? We'd like to honor you. It's a little creepy when you see your big picture. Thank you.
When I arrived at Broward County Public Schools in October of 2011, I described it as Charles Dickens' novel, Tale of Two Cities. On the one hand, we are #1 in the state of Florida in the number of nationally board-certified teachers. It's one of the most diverse school systems I've seen. We have children from over 200 different countries speaking over 100 different languages.
What word? Good job.
On the other hand, the district has some significant achievement gaps, and also there was a big issue with public trust. The #1 thing I did landing on the ground was to listen. Listen to not just people within the organization, but listen to the entire community. My view is that charter schools are part of the portfolio of public schools that we have in the district, and our focus is to make sure that they're high quality and that we're working in a collaborative fashion. I recently co-chaired a charter school authorization task force with Representative Janet Atkins, and our focus there is to make sure that as we have charter schools, that they're high quality schools. And that's all I'm really trying to get to, right? Whether it's a traditional public school or it's a charter school, that they're providing great service and great options and high quality teaching and learning.
What is this?
I can tell you it is an imperative that the administration and the teachers union work as collaboratively as possible. That's the only way we're ever going to become a high-performing district. We had a situation where they hadn't had a contract agreement in almost 4 years, no teacher pay raises. So within the first year of the district, I was able to negotiate a contract successfully with the union, give teachers a pay raise, and done a number of other things that we ultimately believe is going to put us in a position to better support our teachers.
They're amazing.
The biggest factor in student achievement is always going to be the teacher. The relationship between the teacher and your students, the environment that's created there that creates a real sense of engagement, builds confidence in the students, creates a sense of hope, and drives student accountability is ultimately what's going to make and create the environment for success.
It was the Florida Consortium of Public Charter Schools that nominated Broward Superintendent Robert Runcie for his unprecedented efforts to forge working relationships with the county's 95 charter schools. Runcie convened 2 summits that brought together charter operators and district staff. They developed an action plan to provide services to charter schools, and best practices were shared. Runcie established, that would be Robert, established a similar collaboration with the local NAACP, the police, and the juvenile justice authorities to create an alternative to the district's zero tolerance discipline policy and reduce the numbers of students, and especially students of color, getting suspended or expelled. Superintendent Runcie is unable to be with us this morning. He's got a school board meeting. However, Desmond Blackburn, Broward County's Chief School Performance and Accountability Officer, is here to accept this recognition on his behalf. Dr. Blackburn, if you could join me up here. It's great you could be there last night. I enjoyed that. See my colleague there. Thank you. Congrats to your boss.
For the layperson, it almost is like English language learning. Yeah, it makes sense. They're learning English. Well, they're not just learning English. They're learning lots of concepts in different subject matters. And so by calling them English language learners, we're narrowing the challenges that they're struggling with. And Oakland is a school district of about 38,000 students. We have about 80% of our kids low income. About 35% are English language learners. We have students that are foster youth. We have homeless students. We have all types of students that we need to address and to make successful in the classroom. So for doing this for English language learners, we're very clear that we need to make sure that they are afforded multiple opportunities to engage with the grade level curriculum. What happened to you? Many students come to us literate in their home language. And that is already an asset that we can build from because they already understand the role of vocabulary, of structures, of forms within language, and we can use that as a building block. I really try to think of our learners as emerging bilingual, biliterate students with this cross-cultural understanding. They are also grappling with cross-cultural understandings and perspectives as they're doing the learning.
But here it is,
Which comes back to my story, because I used to be a learner of languages. So I was originally born in Puerto Rico, and my father was in the military. So some of my schooling was totally immersed in English, and some of my schooling was totally immersed in Spanish. I was always navigating cultures as well as diverse languages. All of those language tools that we have that cut across disciplines have to also be embedded in the academic language development, and that it should happen as an integrated part of any instructional program and not separate. So ideas are ideas, and you can get those ideas in any language. You just have to learn also how to communicate those ideas. So that's a powerful thing for folks to remember, that the kids are not a blank slate. They've already come with quite a bit.
Maria has a long history of working as an ELL specialist devoted to ensuring that English language learners are active participants in mainstream academic courses. Small teams of educators do rounds in our district schools and closely examine a previously defined problem or area of instruction to see how it could be improved. When it comes to English learners specifically, the teams look at whether those students are discussing ideas and making connections to the content, even if their language isn't perfect. In other words, whether ELL students are a part of the academic discourse in their classrooms. She has even expanded these rounds. She has now expanded these rounds to every school in Oakland this year after piloting them in a small cohort during the 2012-13 school year. The next major focus area will be on writing arguments, another essential identified in college and career-ready standards, and another major challenge for students who are still learning English. Maria, would you please join me on stage? It's a terrific picture. I love that picture. Thank you, Maria. I have to give a shout out to my colleagues who created these images and these videos. They're all on the website, and they are really quite stunning, and I think a powerful part of the story we're trying to tell. Way to go, Sweekar, and your colleagues. Yeah, give it up. In one of the most remote areas of Alaska, Dan Walker, the Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Programs in the Lower Kuskokwim School District, uses technology to keep 4,000 students in 23 small communities connected to learning opportunities. I think he said last night the geographic area is the size of Ohio. The students, most of whom are UPIC, live in communities that are only accessible by air. Through distance learning, a one-to-one laptop program, satellite-based internet connectivity, and other means, students are able to take part in national robotics and Lego competitions, a summer film academy, rigorous classes, and a UPIC book creation program. Dan Walker uses EdTech to connect students to cutting-edge learning opportunities in the most remote of remote areas. Dan, we'd like to honor you. Please join me on stage. He gets the Coming the Furthest award. See, that's a great image. I love that. After seeing breaded chicken nuggets and canned fruit swimming in syrup, On his son's lunch tray, week after week, Bertrand Weber used his decades of experience in high-end restaurants and boutique hotels to make school lunches in Minneapolis healthier, tastier, and a lot more interesting. Before becoming the director of culinary and nutrition services in the Minneapolis Public Schools, Bertrand worked with a private organization to help more than 180 districts across Minnesota and other Midwestern states bring fresh fruit and vegetable bars to school lunchrooms. In his 2 years in Minneapolis, he has found creative ways to buy local, organically raised food products with a limited budget and is transforming the district's food services program from one that assembles pre-cooked meals to one that cooks fresh food from scratch. Mr. Weber, would you please join me on stage? You go, girl. Oh. Thank you, Bertrand.
We knew that our science and our math achievement was not where it needed to be. And we began talking about how could we improve math and science instruction within our schools. We knew that STEM was a way that we could really integrate all of our math and science together. And because too often when you're teaching, you teach content areas in isolation. And so math doesn't make sense and science doesn't make sense because they're done in isolation. But when you can put them together and they make a concept come alive for a student, that's extremely important. We began by talking about a STEM academy at the high school and how we would do that. But the more we delved into it, the more we felt that this was the right way to teach math and science. And so it shouldn't be limited to just a select group of students. It should be for everybody across the district.
He said over and over again, if it's good for one group, it's good for all of our students. He said, how can we do this? And went to a conference and brought a book back to me to read on problem-based learning. So that became the foundation of our STEM program.
We created a vision for this, and one of those was that we would have our teachers out into the community learning math and science and creating those challenges, those real-world challenges, and they would bring them back to the classroom. So I contacted businesses across the community and said, hey, I'd love for you to be able, would you allow for my teachers to come in and spend half a day.
Mr. Clark actually introduced us to Toby, who is a local concrete company, and the light bulbs went off. The concrete, the mixtures, the chemistry really tied to not only science standards, but math standards as well. We introduced what they do with concrete and how it's not just concrete that you walk on, it's really a mixture of different solutions and different ingredients. And so the math really taught them about ratios and how the ratios of concrete really make it strengthen it or weaken it. And so that's what we focused on.
What are we trying to represent this?
They got to touch, the aggregate, they got to touch the coarse grains and realize all the things that went into concrete. And then the fun part was they got to make it. They got to figure out how to make it stronger, make a bridge that they would be willing to take their family across. That's how we made it real for them.
There you go.
For them, they're learning a process in life that they can use for the rest of their lives. They're learning how to integrate that technology to solve a problem. They're creating charts, they're creating graphs. It's no longer creating a model of a planet. They're talking about how they manipulate a planet. How would they change a planet's atmosphere in order that life could exist? Or what type of animal would exist on this planet if it had this particular type of atmosphere? It's about really understanding what is out there. And I think for them later on in life, they'll look at things differently. Parents will tell me, my kid is all the time saying, well, how could I improve that? And how could I improve this? So the kids would go home talking about science, excited about math. And parents say, I've never heard this before out of my child. And it's not just the students who are high achievers who are learning, but it's all students who are learning because they're engaged and it's relevant to them. And being relevant, you're able to drive the rigor up because they are so engaged. They want to know what's next, what's next.
It's teaching science in a way, teaching math, technology in a way that will last forever. I don't know any other way. I don't know science without STEM. I don't know how it would be effective, how the kids would learn, how would they grow without having all those components together. I don't know. It's a passion. It's a passion of mine to get the kids' hands in the mess and get it dirty. I don't care if we spill, we break. I mean, they have to encompass those things so that it will last a lifetime. It's important.
Superintendent B.J. Worthington worked to expand STEM integration in all 37 schools and create an externship program in which 100 elementary, middle, and high school teachers are matched with businesses so they can gather real-world applications of math and science to use in their classrooms. BJ, I want to call you, also oversaw the creation of a 9th through 12th grade STEM academy with an engineering focus. Students are connected with a medical university and a state agriculture extension office to study and try to solve such practical problems, I love this, as why cattle in the area are suffering from a copper deficiency that causes them to be infertile. So we have to worry about that. He dedicated his time to ensure that students understood the practicality of math and science. Superintendent Worthington, if you would join me on stage, please. Congrats, it's wonderful, yeah? Thank you. Am I done? Yeah, I mean, that's it. I would, at this point, like to, not that we're done, we're just, if I could ask all of the leaders to learn from, who we've recognized this morning, to please rise and turn around and face the rest of the room. We can give you one more round of applause.
Well, it doesn't end there, obviously. We do have, this is not just a live events program. We will also have virtual events that will tie into this, thanks to some great sponsors that aren't even in this room today. We have other wonderful sponsors who are going to be sponsoring a live chat with Gail and Dan in April 24th. And then we have another one with a fellow you didn't get to meet today, Aaron Grossman. You met Scott Bailey from the Washoe County Schools. And he will be doing that on May 15th. There'll be more about that on edweek.org. As for now, there's a quick reminder that there is still our iPad case giveaway that will be happening. Please put your business cards in the bowl outside. We'll be drawing those 6 winners later about the 11:30 hour. I want to announce the numbers. Pardon me. So we're going to take this mid-morning break right now, and we're going to enjoy refreshments here until 10:30. So figure we'll be back here, and you'll know when. You'll be triggered by, I believe, yet another video. So be looking for that. We'll see you soon. 10:30.